Hello, callers, and welcome back to Viva Barca. Welcome to the home of everything Barcelona, where we are going to be discussing on some interesting updates. We start with veteran left back Jordi Alba, as it has been reported that Serie A giants Juventus are interested in signing the 33-year-old Barca defender. We are going to be discussing about that as we move ahead. Then secondly, talking about Frenkie de Jong, as it has been reported that Manchester United have retained an interest in the Barca superstar and could make an offer for him next summer. We are also going to be discussing about that. So guys, as we get right into it in much detail, please do ensure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. Serie A heavyweight Juventus are considering making a move for the signing of Barcelona veteran Jordi Alba during the January transfer window. This claims come from Luis Miguel Sanz of Sport, who states that the Italian giants are looking for an experienced left-back in January, unlike the profile of Alba. The 33-year-old is enduring one of the worst starts to the season since returning to Barcelona, as he has dropped well down the pecking order of things at Spotify Camp Nou. Indeed, after starting the opening La Liga game of the season against Rayo Vallecano, Alba has not featured in the first 11 any of the league matches, with young star Alejandro Balde being preferred by manager Xavi Hernandez. Alba, as a result, has played just 4 times in all competitions, that is 2 starts, totaling up to only 216 minutes of on-field action. Barcelona had already made an attempt to move him on in the summer when they had an agreement on loan to loan him out to Inter Milan. However, Alba rejected that move and he desired to stay put and fight for his place. But Barcelona are intent on getting rid of his massive wages and could make efforts to offload Alba and fellow captain Gerard Piqué in January. And this is where Juventus have entered the fray. The Bianconeri have endured a torrid start to the season with Massimiliano Allegri under intense pressure already. While they are struggling across the pitch, a new left-back is reportedly being seen as a key addition in the mid-season trading window. With Alexandro on the decline, Allegri and Juventus want to sign a seasoned campaigner who can add quality and leadership to the side, leading to the interest in Jordi Alba. Barcelona, for their part, would be open to negotiating a loan deal for a permanent sale. However, any move would depend on Jordi Alba, as he still has close to 2 years left on his contract with Barcelona. Jordi Alba has had a torrid time at Barca so far this season, and quite understandably so. We all know how Xavi have been trying to rotate the team, having good depth, and also the fact that Alejandro Balde is in hot form. And it's but natural that we start seeing rumors about possible transfers for Alba and so on and so forth. You know, it might be true, yes, Alba is not happy for the circumstances. He has been so used to being a starter all the time at left back. But the reality now at the Camp Nou is he is no more the preferred choice. Balde is doing better than him by far, and I think Jordi Alba needs to accept that. But right now, I think Alba will still believe in his mind that he can still convince Xavi to be a starter, which for me does not look plausible, does not look possible at the moment. At some point he will just accept that he is not the starter and he needs to leave the club. One of the key reasons that we are seeing Barca trying to push some of these veterans like Piqué and Alba is their wages. Their wages are so high. We quite remember Bartomeu, the former president, had to extend their contract before leaving, and their wages are so massive, right? So you can see how Laporta and his board are trying their best to ensure that Barca try to regulate their wages as soon as possible, and Barcelona are trying their best to ensure that Alba and Gerard Piqué as well can leave the club in the January transfer window. Wow, that would be so harsh, but definitely I think it's possible. But let's see how it goes. But I don't think those two veterans will accept a January departure. Piqué and Alba's their contract expires in 2024, so they still have 1.5 years. Whereas for another veteran in Sergio Busquets, his contract expires next year alongside with Sergio Roberto. So Jordi Alba is linked to Juventus. Let's see if actually that move goes through. Juventus are showing interest in him, but when he was linked to Inter Milan. We quite remember the deadline day. Barca tried to push him to Inter. After Barca and Inter have already come to an agreement, he was not happy for the fact that Barca were doing it, behind his back, and he was so disinterested in that move. So I don't know. I doubt if he'll be interested going to the Serie A, playing for Juventus again this time around. So let's see how it's going to look like for Alba this season, but it has already shown. Marcos Alonso is there, and Marcos Alonso is the second choice to Alejandro Balde. Alejandro Balde is definitely the first choice for Xavi, so which means that Jordi Alba has been pushed down the pecking order further, so he's the third choice there. So interesting to see how Alba coped this season, as his time on the pitch has been drastically reduced. Then on to the final story of discussion. Despite the straightaway rejection, Barcelona midfielder Frenkie de Jong continues to attract Manchester United's interest, and if a report from ESPN is to be believed, Erik ten Hag remains intent on landing the Dutch midfielder. It must be remembered that Manchester United had a principal agreement in place with FC Barcelona over the transfer of the midfielder this past summer. The player's reluctance to leave, forced Barca to pull out of the deal, and the 25-year-old eventually stayed put. Another reason why United and De Jong failed to agree personal terms was the former's hesitation to cover the deferred wages the midfielder is owed by Barcelona. While the former Ajax man has stayed, he is no longer a regular starter under Xavi, with Pedri, Gavi and Sergio Busquets, being the preferred midfield. And Man United are of the idea that, he could leave Barcelona in the future, and they plan to convince him to come to Old Trafford. ESPN claims that Manchester United are not ruling out the possibility of making another bid next year. This is mostly because the player is aware of the fact that Barca wanted to sell him in the summer, and they might do so once again in a bid to reduce their wage bill. By the same time, the midfielder declared his continuity. Barcelona eventually put forward an idea where he was asked to take a salary reduction. However, despite the constant pressure from the Blaugrana, he did not agree to accept the pay cut and revert to his old contract. So far, while De Jong has got his fair share of chances, it is evident that he has lost his place in the starting 11, with Sergio Busquets, Pedri, Gavi now getting a nod ahead of the Dutchman. As for Manchester United, they have assured De Jong and his agent that he will, in fact, be a regular starter, but the negotiations will only be done when the conditions are right. But Ten Hag remains keen on a reunion with his former world, and the Premier League could test the waters with another bid come 2023. So guys, with that we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.